All right, this is on the Kohl's job. And this is quite a fun one. So, starting off by getting some heat runs into this room. And let's see if I can point this. Right about right here, there's a trunk line that, comes from the house and it stops. We'll go down in the crawl space and look. But there's a trunk line. The homeowner's gonna take up this floor right here so that way we can get onto it. But we're going to run some pipe. It could be 10-inch. And we can make a squared around right there if we'd like in order to bring it out. But 10-inch, and it's gonna go underneath these floor joists. And right here where there's concrete, they've core drilled out a 10-inch hole, a 12-inch hole right there. So there's a 12-inch hole that's been cored out. And we can run 10-inch pipe through there if we'd like, but it's exactly 12 inches, so I don't know if 12-inch pipe will go through. But 10-inch pipe should be fine. And it's going to come all the way over to about right here on the floor. There's crawl space right underneath us, and there's a wall. So right there. It'll tee, and then we'll run some pipe over and over underneath the floor joists. And then we'll put a floor grill right there on the floor. Just right below the window center of it. Okay, and then we'll tee off and run all the way over to here in the laundry room. And then this is gonna have cabinets, so toe kick right there. There'll be another tee right here, but come up, and then we'll have some toe kick sleeves to come out. And then there's gonna be a heat run right here in this pool bathroom, and you're going to have to 90 around a little beam that's right there, and then hit that toe kick. Now, depending on how far out that support beam comes, which it may be right here, you could just put the toe kick right there, but these are gonna be 24-inch cabinetry. So, and then the other heat run to worry about, which I can't see down in the, from the crawl space, where you can see it coming through, that's the fireplace flue. But just on the other side of this wall right here, there's another seal plate, and then that's the crawl space. So you can see the 8-inch, what I believe to be an 8-inch round that comes off the trunk, and it 90s up, and it runs along this joist space over to this heat run right here, and it's got an RZL tubing in it. So what you could do is the RZL tube comes in through the outside of the duct. So I don't know exactly, without having the floor open, where it comes from. If it doesn't come from over there and the wire comes from over here, what you can do is just run new RZL tubing wire over to about this spot. And at this spot right here is where we want to cut out the floor for toe kick. On the other side of this wall is their kitchen, and their kitchen is being extended all the way up to this wall right here. So that heat run is going to come over here, and it's going to turn into a toe kick. About right here is where their gas range is, And that gas range is probably on the other side of the wall. Well, it is. But you need to extend it over to right here. So that gas extends over to right here. So we talked about that. The last thing is this gas pipe right here needs to get extended over to there for their dryer. So there's a hole right here, and there's another sill plate on the other side. So drill through, and then you can get down to the crawl space, and we'll run along the wall, and I'll show you right there, and then straight over and up into over here for the dryer. That heat run over there, and this heat run, and this heat run up here, they all need to be tied into the upstairs, our zone 2. So the plan is to take this pipe right here, and tee it to get over there, and tee it to get over here and over there into that room. So just a bunch of tees. We're not going to pull new home runs. We're just going to tee them off. So going down to the crawl space. Let me talk about one more thing. Well, we'll talk about it when we get to it. So coming down into the crawl space. When you first get in here, and coming over this way, here is the back there is the duct. I don't think it's very wide. It's probably 14 inches wide. But here's this run right here that goes over the one that you're going to run the tube through, the RZL tube through, to get to the new one for the kitchen, the toe kick. But there's a bunch of stuff in the way I can see. So a couple things that could be done is we could extend out that trunk so that way we have enough room to take this one off and have our 10-inch to come through this hole. We also might want to extend it because there is a 7-inch that's coming through right here. We'll talk about that in a minute. But as you can see, you'll come over to right here, go across, and then the window's right there. Then down this way to the laundry room, which is right there. It's just right there by that corner. There's the laundry room right by the corner. And then coming around here is where, up in there, where that hole was. Like I said, you could probably come up in this joist, just depends on if it'll get covered up by the cabinets. So that's for the upstairs heat runs. And again, we're gonna find the pipe. It's the one that sits about right here. Find that pipe, run the tube through to the duct and then tie everything in, except for the 7-inch. We'll go over that in a second. But about right here is where the gas is. So you drill through that sill plate and then run it over here to, that's the water. About right there is where the gas should come up for the dryer. I'll be sure that this is nice and cleaned up for you. But there's a 7-inch right here. And this 7-inch, sorry, I'm doing a good job with showing. This 7-inch needs to go all the way over there to that big room that we were in. So the plan is right here, take that 7-inch, come over here to the wall that we're up against and turn it down this wall. Have it be, you know, probably right in front of the 8-inch pipe that's gonna be running over there. So have it be right before it, you know, tied up to the ceiling, or you can come down below the wall, on the wall below the duct, but keep it tight. We're gonna go over here and then show you where that needs to turn out. There's a 7-inch round right there, and it's exactly 7-inch, so we might go with 6, or we'll do 7-inch flex, but so far just planning on hard pipe. And if the 7-inch can fit through there, great. If it can't, then we'll have you make, or I'll make, I just need to go and measure a piece of pipe, something that's smaller. We'll probably just reduce it down to 6-inch right here, and then they should be cutting out, or you'll have to cut out that wood and then just have it stop right there at the wall and blow into the room with probably just the ceiling register right there. This 7-inch is for the downstairs zone. So I do not know where a downstairs zone pipe is to be able to tee off of. So that is something that was told that we could find at the trunk line. So once that trunk line is accessible, we'll want to look in there and see if we can find that tube for the downstairs. Okay, a couple other things. There is an abandoned gas line right over here I'll go look at, but while I'm inside, he wants it to come up and stub out. Right up in there is where the bottom plate is in that room. And it's kind of hard to see, but right there's where I had a pilot hole come out. And once it comes up, it needs to shoot straight out to the outside of the home. So there's no room to work in here. We might need to have an elbow already put onto it so that way we could drop down the pipe from above, the rising pipe that's got an elbow that points outward. So you know what I mean? We'll have pipe coming through here, and we might have to go through these TGIs. This is a concrete foundation. I don't know off the top of my head without spending time looking it up if we can come through right here, and maybe I should have figured that out first. But I'm kind of hoping that we can use CSST instead, because you will need to run along this wall over here and then drop down into the crawl space opening, and it's gonna run all the way out and then back up. So we'll go look at that right now. But just keep in mind that this is where he needs it to be, going outside. And we'll go look at a video or take a couple pictures of that too. So here's the opening for that. Might just need to be boxed and framed out so that way the grill can sit there. But here's where that gas pipe is. He wants it to come down and run behind the wall to get over to there. That would require probably just taking off the shutoff and 90ing down this way to get behind the wall. But I'll show you where that is outside while I'm here. This is a register that was going up above their patio door, but they've since extended it. So this needs to extend right here, right before this joist, and then go up into the upstairs zone area. So again, we need to find, once that duct is accessible, if there's a pipe that we could tie on to this. And they do have a theater room right there that's part of the basement, and that duct should go right up above that theater room. So I'm hoping that you'll see a couple takeoffs somewhere for that theater room that we can use to tee and run new pipe to come over to here. But lastly, where he wants it to come out should come out right here, right up above the base plate, and come extend past the edge of this concrete with a 90 that goes down 4 inches to a shut off. And then up in here, he needs it to come out right here. So unfortunately, that means having a 90 up here already on it. So that way we can, we don't have to get wrenches in there to turn it. So have a 90 on top with the pipe going down that catches right into a 90 that's already down there. And then it shoots out just right up above this seal plate. So I'm gonna inquire whether we can just do CSST, and then once it comes up, then we stub it out with hard pipe. But that is it for this job. Sorry, it's not gonna be extreme accurate measurements, but just doing as much as it can do.